All right, in Oakland with the world famous Keith Smart. This is the guy that's known. This is the guy that's known in Indiana and even all over America as hitting the shot that won the championship by IU back in the day.
Smart takes the shot. Indiana wins the championship. Keith Smart is the hero.
Well, recently, God has done some wonderful things in his life. He's now a head coach of the Golden State Warriors. So it's obviously the favor of God is on your life. And not only that, you put in the time, the hard work, the dedication. I love the fact he's a family man. I had the opportunity to pastor him while he was with the Fort Wayne Fury for a minute. And so we're excited. And I just want to share with the Summit family just your story. And how did you get here?
Well, first, it's ironic that all of a sudden I get named to be a head coach, and then you have an appointment out here in the Bay Area, you know. So that's an ironic deal there. But after I left Fort Wayne from coaching there, and I went up to Cleveland, was assistant coach there, and then took over the team for 40 games as the head coach. And then I came out here, and never thought I would ever be out here this long, and I've been out here for 8 years so far, going to my 8th year, and never thought that would happen. And but I've always felt like the hand of God has always been on my life, directing me, you know, not to move yet, move now, things like that. And then I was very fortunate to be around coaches, good coaches that allowed me to coach. And then I got into an organization that perhaps saw how I worked, saw dedication. The general manager now, Larry Riley, we were assistant coaches together, so he had an idea of how I function and operate as a person, what my life was like, not only around the arena, but also at home. So when he had to make a decision as to who was going to be the next coach, once Coach Nelson was no longer with the team, he was able to find some favor in me and give me the opportunity. So everything kind of just kept lining up, you know, but I had to be prepared for it, which I was, having had the experience of starting off as a head coach in the minor leagues, getting to understand the NBA, and coaching the NBA. And things just kept moving. I just had to, you know, when you're in line, as they say, to become a head coach, your life has to almost be perfect, you know, for the opportunity. And then once the opportunity comes, now is what your ability that you know and how you can present it to 12 to 15 young men to carry out a plan every day and every night.
Wow, that's awesome. I think that's just tremendous. Because I'm committed as a pastor and our Summit family. I'm going to have a prayer team pray for you because I believe it's very important that you become successful, not just because of the basketball, but because God has you in this position. I believe for such a time as this, your impact on the lives of young men and even Carol's wife, Love's wife, and how she's having an impact on the ladies and girlfriends and the players.
Yeah. All
of that. I believe God has a purpose and that God has placed you in that position to give him glory and make an impact for the kingdom of God. And so I'm excited about it.
Yeah, I believe that too because, you know, one thing Carol and I, we look at our family, how we're raising our kids, and then so many of these young players that we can identify with them and their wives or girlfriends. You know, how are you guys doing it? We joke around and say we've been together for 22 years now. And you know, and here we are. What did you guys do? How did you? Some of the things they're going to face, I face and we face, and how we dealt with it and how we handle those situations that came up and that will come up, and we can share that with those players. Before I can get, and I'll share with you already, before you get into the X and O's of basketball, you have so many other details that you have to try to get to so the players can function on the floor. And I'm a hands-on coach. You know, I share with them my belief. They understand my belief system, and try to carry that with how I do my daily work. I still have to coach them. I had a covenant with each guy individually. You know, we had a handshake covenant that we're going to commit to each other. That you're going to allow me to coach you, but I want permission to coach you. And if you give me permission to coach you, then I should be able to coach you in a positive way. And sometimes it won't be as positive as you want it to be. But you give me that commitment, and I'm going to coach you, the best player on our team, but also the player who's not as popular on our team. I'm going to coach my whole roster. And these guys have given that to me, and now that we have an opportunity to coach in the NBA, it's not that big of a deal to me because it seems like God has already given me the vision of where I'm trying to go with the team. So although I step into a whole different ball game with the publicity and the shoes that you have to feel and the pressures of it, but I don't feel the pressure for some reason, and I know what that reason is. I know God has me in complete peace and calm when I'm coaching the game, when I'm managing the basketball team.
One thing I thought about, had it always been your goal to be a head coach?
It's never been my goal. That's why I know it's being ordered. You know, it never been my goal to be a basketball player. You know, it all just, I fell into playing basketball. I fell into going to Indiana. You know, I played well getting into that direction because I didn't play in high school. My best friend went off to school in Garden City, Kansas. Yeah, I was a shorty in high school. I went to my senior year, I was 5'6". And then I sprouted to 5'9" at graduation, and then 6'1" after that graduation. Got a motorcycle, had fun on it, but I also had an accident on it. So it broke me pretty bad. I was on a body cast, and during that time I grew. So my God, why you stopped me at 6'1"? Could have been 6'9". But then, you know, my best friend went off to Kansas to go to school. I went to school with him. The next year, they said, "Why don't you try for the basketball team?" Of course, I played all the time, and then I tried for the team and made the basketball team. And then became a junior college All-American in Kansas, and then got recruited by other Division I schools, and Indiana was one of them. So through all that time, I felt that someone else was pushing me and moving me in a direction. And then, of course, getting drafted to the NBA, and got drafted by this team, Golden State, 1988.
Wow. So
to be drafted by a team, and then eventually you become the head coach. First as an assistant, I was excited because I was the team that I grew up in, was drafted by. And then to also be named the head coach of the team that drafted you. You know, so I had a special bond with this team and the organization because of that. The coach that drafted me, Coach Don Nelson, was also my boss as assistant coach. And when he first arrived here 5 years ago, his number one goal outside of winning was to promote me to get me into the position, into the seat. So all the favor that I ended up having prepared me, because he gave me a lot of freedom to run the team, coach the team. I coached games. I did more coaching as an assistant than more assistant coaches in the NBA. You know, not a lot of them will have the freedom to run practices, run a timeout, run the game, coach games in the NBA. And he would sit right on the side and watch me do these things. So he was mentoring me to one day be in this position. And when it finally happened, he was real happy that he had done everything he could to get me into this position with his teaching and training.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Keith is a tremendous example of what God will do in your life if you put him first. Man, thank you for showing me such a great time here.
I'm glad you're here. I'm just glad you got a chance to come in.
Claim you as one of our own.
I am. From the beginning, man. So I'm glad that you finally called me, and you got to tell them how you called to say good luck with everything. And by the time you got on the phone.
Yeah, I called Keith not knowing that he was the head coach. This was just a few weeks ago, and I left a message. I felt so silly. I actually felt stupid when I found out just shortly after I left you a voicemail. And asked what happened was I called Keith. I said, man, I called myself prophesying over the future. I said, yeah, hey Keith, you're the future head coach of the Golden State Warriors. And while I was saying that, he was already the head coach. Now we were having dinner with some friends, and they said, did you hear that he was promoted as the head coach? I said, really? As soon as we got done with dinner, I called back. I said, Keith, well, I didn't know, man.
Yeah.
So, but that's great.
That's good. I'm glad we were able to pick up. Haven't seen each other in a while, but can pick up just like we have been seeing each other every day.
Exactly.
So
Best is yet to come.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.